Hi everyone, Pig Latin here with Rhyme Signatures, the nerdiest music review this side of being Ethe Ulustke Ewe Otye Ixpe Inye Ethe Agram Play, and today we're going to be doing a review of the new Amskray album, Die Happy. Being at the start of something new, being amongst the first to witness an exciting launch into the musical space is always a little bit thrilling. To be able to say that you were there before they were cool is always a fun thing. I am, after all, eternally smug in my early adoption of Haken, especially when their demo album goes for ridiculous money on Discogs, and you got it for nothing after sending a nice email to the band back in the day. So imagine the slow burn appreciation in seeing a band like Amskray unfurl before your ears as you slowly start to realise that something special could be happening in front of you. And you get to be at the forefront of what could be the inception of yet another band in the next big wave of progressive indie rock. In truth, these are my favourite kind of things to listen to because nobody, and I mean nobody, tries harder to impress you than a young, feisty band with everything to prove in a space that's never been so competitive before. And yeah, Amskray really does kind of nail it with a debut album that's a pretty solid slug of some familiar but nonetheless extremely enjoyable sounds that really speaks of acres of potential going forwards.
Keep our stories misread coming.
The band hails from New Jersey and consists of Don Scher on vocals, guitars and percussion, Jake Hughes on keyboards and vocals, Brendan Lee on bass and vocals, and Chase Shooter on drums and vocals. And this is their first nervous step into the outside world with their debut album. Information available online about the band is scant, so I'm going to make an educated guess at the band's day jobs. Don is a zookeeper who looks after camels. Jake is a professional ski instructor for French-speaking tourists. Brendan is a sports sciences lecturer at a struggling community college. And Chase is a carpenter who specialises in bespoke bed frames. I'm sorry for being so incredibly accurate, guys. It's just my gift, my burden. Not everyone can be blessed with such presumptive foresight as I. Now, the music we're talking about here is definitely falling within the niche that bands like the Deer Hunter have been popularising, having strong emphasis on these indie rock, emo, maybe a little bit of slightly post-hardcore tinges from time to time, with a smattering of progressive structuring, unusual instrumentation choices, and lyricism that pulls at both the heartstrings and the grey matter in equal measure. The record is a nicely digestible 42 minutes long across 12 tracks, so there's nothing on here that outlasts its welcome, and it fits comfortably into that easily accessible but with a greater depth below the surface kind of metric that I honestly love so much. So there's a lot to love on Die Happy, and the most immediately striking thing for me at least when I've been listening to this is just how slick and cohesive the guys all sound together. There's a singular sense of unity and perfectionism to the music. Everyone sounds so in sync with each other that the songs on Die Happy all flow with a sense of aural fluid dynamics. It's a deeply controlled sound, yes, but it doesn't feel constrained or restricted in any way. Everyone is given the chance to shine a little bit here and there amidst the continuous flow, and it's really cool to hear these little keyboard stings or bass licks that manage to stand out against the bigger picture of the music's overall canvas. Some favourite tracks include midpoint highlight of In the Garden with a slow burn, almost Black Velvet-esque bass groove that leads things off, into haunting, ethereal vocals, stardust-tinged synth work, and a spectacular driving melody that worms its way into your heart with almost zero effort. Slowly waiting to become a silent witness to your beauty has gotta be one of my favourite vocal patterns of the year. The horns that carry us further into the track have a real Thank You Scientist feel to them, but it's more about working as an effective segue into the subsequent build-up and payoff of a raw, passionate vocal segment than any kind of, virtuosic jazz musicianship. Illusionists is another favourite with its dark, moody, atmospheric synth intro leading into rumbling drums setting up underneath everything, only for haunting vocals to come out in over the top as the track builds and builds in layers of complexity before the jazzier influences keep threatening and we're left with what feels like a more evolved version of earlier Pineapple Thief material. It's a track with a lot of lead up but manages to not miss the landing with its payoff. The second half of the album is just a frankly complete stunner, and from Anti-Identity onwards with its reggae beats and simple honesty, the record just keeps on growing and growing in my estimations. But, as is the case with everything, nothing is perfect, and there are a few minor tiny little quibbles I have with Die Happy. The first half of the album does feel like it takes, I don't know, a little while to get going. Tracks like Vice Versa, In the Ashes, and Meta Gaining Loss are all good songs, but they don't feel much like anything I haven't heard before. It's solid, enjoyable, proggy indie rock, but it does feel like the band are playing it, I don't know, a little safe early on, saving the more experimental and expressive tracks until later on in the record, which can make for a slightly frustrating initial run until you hit the halfway point where the band really starts opening up the throttle on what they're capable of. There's a lot of influence from their immediate peers to be found on the album, and as such it can sometimes feel like Amskray haven't quite found an identity that is truly theirs, per se, feeling rather like a melange or blend of some of the better parts of their multiple influences. And while it sounds good, yes, and at times absolutely excellent, yes, Die Happy doesn't do a great deal to stand out amongst the crowd of similar bands within this kind of space. That being said, though, this record is still a fantastic example of just how exciting the indie prog scene is becoming in the 2020s. And I have every confidence that Amskray will learn a lot from this album, from the feedback that new fans will give them, and I foresee no sophomore slump from this talented crew, only a band set to rise and dazzle everyone as their career blossoms.
I'll just keep waiting till it comes.
So, what else can I say about Amskray's Die Happy? New bands are always my favourite thing, you know, and when a new band can absolutely captivate me in the ways that Amskray have managed, then you know that these guys are truly standing on the precipice of greatness. All they need is a little push into the limelight, and I'm certain that they will find the recognition that they truly deserve. I honestly see nothing but good things in these guys' futures, so if you're in the mood to check out what is certain to be one of the bright rising stars in the indie prog world, then you cannot afford to miss out on Die Happy. This is 100% worth picking up in digital format, guys. There is so much promise in this band that I cannot wait to watch unfurl over what I will hope will be a long and fruitful career of theirs. This is all, of course, guys, just my opinion, so if you loved this one or hated this one, please talk to me about your experiences with the album in the comments down below. Please do drop me a thumbs up if you like this video, please do tell your friends about me, and please do throw me a subscription if you enjoyed my content. But until next time, guys, as always, keep your rhyme signatures pretty odd.